All right, let's just dive right in. The explosion of generative AI in filmmaking, I mean, it's impossible to ignore, right? We're talking about going from a simple text prompt to an entire movie scene. This technology is just moving at an absolutely breakneck speed, and it is totally reshaping the entire creative landscape.
So naturally, this brings up a huge question, one that's being debated everywhere from big Hollywood studios to indie creators on YouTube. Is this technology here to replace filmmakers, or is it actually creating a totally new kind of filmmaker? That's the big idea we're going to unpack today. I mean, we are truly in a brand new era of creation. Just think about tools like OpenAI's Sora. A little while ago, this stuff was pure science fiction. Now, it's reality. Suddenly, pretty much anyone with a good idea can generate video, and that is democratizing a process that, used to take huge teams and massive budget.
And let's be clear, this isn't some in-the-future prediction. It's happening right now. The film industry is already using AI for storyboarding, concept art, visual effects, even final shots making it into movies. It is fundamentally changing professional workflows as we speak.
Okay, but all this rapid change has created a pretty big problem, and that is, film schools are really struggling to keep up. There's this growing disconnect between where the industry is heading and what's actually being taught in the classroom. And it's an issue that some new academic research has really zeroed in on.
The researchers have a name for it: competency mismatch. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this growing gap between the AI-driven skills the industry demands and the more traditional skills that media education is still focused on teaching. This is the core tension we're really going to dig into.
And this slide really lays out the two different worlds, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the industry, which is all in on AI-powered workflows and human-machine collaboration. But then you look at education, and it's still largely centered on mastering traditional tools as an individual. What this means is that students are often being trained for reality that is, frankly, vanishing right before our eyes.
But here's where it gets really interesting. See, today's AI, it's nowhere near perfect, and savvy filmmakers are figuring out how to turn its biggest weakness into a massive creative strength.
So what is that weakness? Well, the core technical problem with most generative AI video right now is visual inconsistency. A character's face might subtly change from one shot to the next. An object they're holding could flicker or just disappear. That basic continuity that our brains rely on to follow a story, it's incredibly hard for an AI to get right.
So how are filmmakers getting around that? Well, this is just brilliant. Researchers looked at 3 different AI-made short films, and they found that each one developed a clever hack to deal with that exact problem of visual inconsistency. Let's break down how they did it.
So, first up is a strategy they call bypass. You can see it in this award-winning film, Voices. Instead of fighting with the AI to make a character look identical in every shot, they just bypassed the problem completely. They used a documentary interview style with really short, fragmented clips. The focus was on social issues, so nobody cared about character continuity. And the result? The inconsistency feels like an artistic choice, and the film won the Gold Prize at the Seoul International AI Film Festival. Pretty smart, huh?
Okay, strategy number 2 is embrace. The horror short One More Pumpkin just leaned right into the AI's flaws. All those creepy image distortions, the weird, unstable flickering, it's perfect for a horror movie. As the researchers put it, the technical limitations are absorbed into the genre's aesthetic. They didn't fix the problem, they made the problem the whole point.
And finally, we have the correct strategy. In a film called Airhead, the creators gave the AI a little help. They used a balloon as a consistent visual anchor for the AI to track through the scenes. Then they took all that AI footage and treated it like raw material, with a human editor jumping in to do a heavy edit and polish everything in post-production. It's a perfect example of that human-machine collaboration we were talking about.
Now, these real-world examples of filmmakers adapting, they're not just a bunch of clever tricks. They actually provided the evidence that researchers needed to map out exactly how these new skills are creating a demand for a total overhaul in education.
So, before I show you the full-on academic model, which looks a little complicated, let me just walk you through the logic in 4 simple steps. It all starts with perception. A filmmaker sees an AI tool and thinks, "Hey, that looks easy," or "Wow, that could be really useful." That perception leads them to build actual competency. They start playing with it and get good at it. That new skill, in turn, boosts their creative outcome and productivity. And finally, that productivity boost creates this undeniable, urgent demand for a new curriculum to teach these skills to everyone. See? It's a perfectly logical chain reaction.
And here it is. This is the actual academic roadmap the researchers built. I know, it looks a little complex, but this is what's called a structural equation model, and it basically visualizes the exact flow we just talked about. You can literally see how the factors on the left, like that initial perception of a tool, flow all the way to the outcome on the far right, the urgent need for new educational programs. This is the data-driven proof that education has to evolve.
So this all leads to the big question, right? What does this mean for the future? In this new age of AI filmmaking, what skills are actually going to matter the most?
Well, the fundamental shift is this. It's not just about mastering a tool anymore, like learning a specific camera or a piece of editing software. It's now about mastering a collaboration, that creative partnership between a human mind and an artificial intelligence.
And that collaboration, it demands a whole new skill set. The research points to 4 crucial areas. First, AI output analysis. That's the skill of critically judging everything the AI spits out to find the usable gems. Second, creative recomposition. Taking that raw AI material and editing, refining, and shaping it into a coherent vision. Third is strategic planning. That's about turning the AI's technical limits into deliberate artistic choices, just like those filmmakers did. And finally, and maybe most importantly, aesthetic judgment. That uniquely human, gut-level creative vision that has to guide the entire process from start to finish. Which kind of brings us full circle back to our first question, but with a whole new perspective. Look, an AI can generate a million options, but it can't decide which one matters. It can create a scene, but it can't create meaning. So the real question for the future isn't about what AI can do, it's this. What is the one creative prompt that only a human can ask?